Hello and welcome. Settle in now. Get comfortable. Let the weight of the day slowly drift away. Tonight, we are going to travel back in time. We are going to walk the quiet streets of ancient Rome, but not as emperors or generals. We will walk as someone who saw the city from a different angle. Someone whose life was one of steady, patient rhythm. We will follow a man named Marcus, a simple man, a lecticarius, a litter bearer. For 15 years, Marcus has spent his days and nights inside the wooden shafts of a lectica, a covered litter, a kind of portable couch, carried on the shoulders of men like him. He has carried senators home from late-night feasts. He has carried wealthy matrons to the baths at dawn. He has stood for hours, waiting, his breathing steady, his eyes watching the torchlight flicker on the stone walls. His story is not one of battles or conquests. It is a story of footsteps, a patience, of the quiet sounds of the city at night, and the slow, steady burn of a life lived in the service of others. So, let your own breathing slow down. Find that steady rhythm, and let us step into the sandals of Marcus, the litter bearer, and experience a long day and night in his quiet, enduring life. The air is cool. The sky above the tiled rooftops is just beginning to change from deep black to a softer, dark blue. It is the hour before dawn, the hour when the city of Rome is at its most quiet. In a small, cramped room on the top floor of a towering insula, an apartment block, a man sleeps on a simple straw mat. This is Marcus. He is not young anymore. His shoulders are broad and permanently rounded, shaped by years of carrying heavy loads. His hands are rough, his feet are thick with calluses. He sleeps soundly, a thin wool blanket pulled up to his chin. Then the sound comes. Not a bell, not a horn. A sharp, insistent rapping on the wooden door. Rap, rap, rap. It is the dominus, the foreman, waking his team. The sun will be up soon, and their first customer of the day must be carried to the temple for the morning prayers. Marcus opens his eyes. There is no groan, no complaint. This is his life. He swings his legs over the edge of the mat and sits for a moment, letting the cool air wake him fully. He can hear the other men in the room stirring too. 2 other bearers share this tiny space. They do not speak. There is no need for words at this hour. He stands, pulls on a simple, short-sleeved tunic of rough, brown wool. It is his only garment. He ties a simple leather belt around his waist. No sandals yet. He will put those on when they reach the station. From a small clay pot, he takes a piece of yesterday's bread, hard and dry. He chews it slowly, washing it down with a sip of water from a shared jug. This is his breakfast. Simple fuel for the work ahead. As he chews, he looks out the small, unglazed window. The sky is growing lighter. The first birds are beginning to chirp. Down in the narrow street, 5 floors below, he can hear the first sounds of the city waking. Cart rumbling over stone, a dog barking, a distant vendor calling out. He puts on his thick-soled sandals, the leather worn and soft. He wraps a strip of cloth around his left shoulder, where the wooden pole will rest. It provides just a little padding against the familiar, heavy pressure. He is ready. The day begins. He and his 2 roommates, Lucius and Gaius, shuffle out the door and begin the long climb down the narrow, steep stairs of the insula. Down and down they go, past other closed doors, past the smells of cooking fires and sleeping families. The stairs are dark, lit only by the growing light from the open courtyard below. Finally, they step out into the street. The air is fresh and clean in a way it will not be in a few hours. They walk in silence, their footsteps echoing on the stone paving, towards the Statio Lecticariorum, the litter-bearer station in a wealthy neighborhood near the Palatine Hill. The station is simple. A covered porch, a few wooden benches, and a row of litters parked under an awning. Some are simple, made of wood and leather. Others are more elaborate, with bronze fittings and curtains of fine wool. The foreman, a stocky man with a scarred cheek named Decimus, is already there, counting heads. Marcus nods to the other bearers he knows. There are 12 of them this morning, enough for the 3 litters that will be needed for the first hour. They are a quiet group, Men from all over the empire, Gauls with strong legs, Greeks with endurance, Africans with broad backs. Here they are all just lecticarii. Their job is to stand, to wait, and to carry. Decimus walks over. He points a thick finger at Marcus, Lucius, and Gaius. The litter with the red curtains, he grunts, his voice low and rough. For Domitia, the senator's wife, she needs to be at the temple of Vesta by sunrise. You know the way, don't jostle her. She complains if you jostle her. Marcus nods again. He knows Domitia, a heavy woman with a sharp tongue. But she tips well if you are smooth. They walk to the assigned litter. It is a good one, polished wood, with a curved, comfortable seat inside, hidden by the thick red curtains. They lift the two long wooden poles, called asers, and rest them on their shoulders. Marcus and Lucius take the front. Gaius and another man, a young, silent fellow named Felix, take the back. They stand at the ready, waiting for their passenger. The first rays of the sun are just touching the tops of the temples on the Capitoline Hill when Domitia emerges from her large, grand house. She is dressed in a long stola of fine linen, and she is accompanied by two slave girls who carry her prayer basket and a cushion. She does not look at the bearers. To her, they are just part of the litter like the wheels on a cart. She lifts the curtain and settles herself inside with a great deal of sighing and adjusting. The litter creaks under her weight. To the temple, she says, her voice muffled by the curtain. And be quick about it. I do not wish to miss the opening prayers. The foreman, Decimus, gives a short whistle. This is the signal. Marcus and the other three men grip the poles. They bend their knees slightly, finding the same rhythm, the same moment. On a silent count, they lift together. The weight settles onto their shoulders. It is heavy, yes, 150 pounds of wood, woman, and cushion. But Marcus has carried heavier. They begin to walk. The first few steps are always the most important. Finding the stride, matching your pace to the man in front of you. Marcus leads. He sets a slow, steady pace. Not too fast, not too slow. A pace that can be kept up for miles. A pace that will not spill the lady's wine, should she have a cup. They move down the quiet street. The houses here are grand. Tall walls with few windows on the street level for privacy and security. The only sounds are their own footsteps, the soft creak of the leather straps holding the litter bed, and the muffled sounds from inside as Domitia settles herself. As they turn a corner onto a wider street, the city truly begins to wake around them. The world changes. The quiet gives way to a low hum of activity. Shops are opening. Wooden shutters are being pulled back with a loud clatter. A baker is taking fresh loaves from his oven, the warm, comforting smell of bread filling the air for a moment. A man argues with a vegetable seller over the price of leeks. A group of schoolchildren, their pedagogus herding them along, walks past, their young voices high and curious. Marcus sees all of this from his position, his eyes looking forward, but his gaze taking it all in. He sees the city not as a tourist, but as a worker. He notices the uneven paving stones he must avoid so the lady doesn't complain. He sees the puddle of dirty water thrown from an upper window that he must step around. He sees the other workers, the ones carrying baskets of fish, the ones leading donkeys laden with pottery. They are all part of the same great, slow river of humanity, flowing through the stone channels of the city. The weight on his shoulder is a constant presence, a dull, familiar pressure. It is not pain, not anymore. It is just a part of him, like his own heartbeat. The leather-wrapped pole rests on the padded cloth on his shoulder. He holds the pole with one hand, letting his other arm swing freely for balance. They pass the Forum Romanum. Even at this early hour, it is beginning to fill. Lawyers in their togas talking in small groups. Politicians, surrounded by their clients and supporters. Vendors selling hot sausages and little cups of wine. The smell of sizzling meat mixes with the scent of incense from a nearby temple. It is a cacophony of sight, sound, and smell. But for Marcus, it is just the background. The familiar noise of his workplace. After 20 minutes of steady walking, they reach the Temple of Vesta. It is a round, graceful temple, with a sacred grove nearby. The litter is lowered gently, smoothly. Marcus and the others bend their knees, letting the poles rest on special stands attached to the litter itself. The weight lifts from their shoulders. Ah, there it is. The brief, wonderful feeling of lightness. Domitia descends, not acknowledging them. She sweeps into the temple with her slave girls. The bearers stand by the litter, waiting. They do not sit. They wait. This is the job. Stand, wait. Be ready. Marcus shifts his weight from one foot to the other. He rolls his shoulder, feeling the muscles relax now that the weight is gone. He looks up at the sky. It is a clear, bright blue. It will be a warm day. He takes a deep breath. The air here, near the temple, is clean and scented with laurel. They will wait here for an hour, maybe two, until the lady's prayers and rituals are complete. Then they will carry her home. Then perhaps to the baths. Then maybe to a friend's house for lunch. The day stretches out before them. A long sequence of carries and waits. Carries and waits. It is a life of patience. And Marcus is a very patient man. The sun is high now. It is the 6th hour, what we would call noon. The city has reached its full, noisy, bustling peak. But for Marcus and his fellow bearers, it is a time of relative quiet. They are stationed outside the baths of Agrippa on the Campus Martius. Their last fare, a young merchant, has gone inside to conduct business in the bathhouse, a common practice in Rome. He will be ours. He has paid them well to wait. The 4 men have lowered the empty litter onto its stands in a patch of shade cast by a tall column. They sit on the ground nearby, their backs against the warm stone of a low wall. The weight of the poles is gone. The relief is immense, even for men as used to it as they are. This is the part of the day that belongs to them. These small, stolen moments of rest. Lucius, a wiry man from Spain, pulls out a small piece of cheese and a hunk of bread from a pouch on his belt. He eats slowly, savoring each bite. He offers some to Marcus, who accepts with a grateful nod. They eat in comfortable silence. Felix, the young one, has taken off his sandals and is rubbing his feet. He is new to this work. His feet are not yet as tough as theirs. He winces slightly as he presses a sore spot. Marcus watches him for a moment. He remembers those first months. The burning muscles, the aching joints, the feeling that you could not possibly lift the pole one more time. He felt it all. Now he barely notices. The body adapts. It learns to accept the burden. Around them, the city continues its frantic pace. But here, in their small pocket of shade, there is a strange, calm bubble. They are observers for a little while. They watch the world go by. A group of well-dressed young men walks past, laughing loudly, discussing a recent chariot race. A slave girl hurries by, a heavy water jug balanced perfectly on her head. A philosopher, dressed in a simple Greek cloak, stands on a street corner, arguing with a small crowd about the nature of virtue. His voice is passionate, but the words are lost in the general noise. A dog trots over, its ribs showing, and sits a few feet away, looking at them with hopeful eyes. Lucius tosses a small crust of bread. The dog snatches it up and trots away, its tail wagging once. Marcus leans his head back against the warm stone and closes his eyes for just a moment. He does not sleep. He just rests. He listens. He listens to the layered sounds of the city. It's not a single noise, but many. The rumble of wheels on stone is the bass note. The chatter of voices is the melody. The cry of a vendor, the bark of a dog, the clang of a blacksmith's hammer from a nearby workshop are the sharp, bright accents. It is a symphony he has heard for 15 years. It is the sound of his life. He thinks of his wife, Livia. She will be at the market now, using the small copper coins he gave her this morning to buy a few vegetables for their evening meal. They have a small room, just one, on the top floor of a different insula on the other side of the city. It is humble. It is poor, but it is theirs. And at the end of the day, after the last carry, he will go home to her. She will have a small meal ready. She will ask about his day. He will say it was fine, the usual, and that will be enough. This thought, this image of Livia waiting for him, is a quiet warmth in his chest. It is the reason he stands under the weight. It is the reason his shoulders are permanently curved. It is the reason he will get up again tomorrow before dawn and do it all over again. The sun slowly moves, and the shade begins to shrink. They shift a little, following it. The wait continues. There is no rush, no urgency, just the slow passage of time, marked by the changing angle of the light. This is the rhythm of waiting, and in the waiting, there is a strange kind of peace. The young merchant finally emerges from the baths, refreshed and smelling of oil. He pays them without a word and climbs into the litter. He directs them to the forum, to the Basilica Emilia, where the bankers and moneylenders have their tables. The afternoon heat is heavy now. The sun beats down on the stone streets, and the air shimmers above the pavements. The weight of the litter feels different in the heat. Heavier, more oppressive. The leather of the poles is warm to the touch, even through the padding. Marcus feels a trickle of sweat run down his back, under his tunic. He blinks, clearing the sweat from his eyes. His breathing is steady, but deeper now. Each step requires a little more effort. The muscles in his legs and back are fully engaged, a solid working tension. They navigate the crowded streets. The afternoon crowd is different from the morning one. It is more urgent, more focused on business. Men in togas stride purposefully, their faces serious. Clients hurry after their patrons. The air is thick with the smell of dust, sweat, and animals. They set the merchant down near the steps of the basilica. He disappears inside. Again they wait, but this wait is different. The shade is less generous here. They stand by the litter, shifting their weight, trying to find any small patch of shadow. A vendor approaches, selling small cups of cool water from a clay amphora. Marcus has a single copper coin, kept safe in a fold of his belt. He uses it to buy a cup for himself and one for Lucius. The water is slightly metallic tasting, but it is cool and it is wet. It is the best thing he has tasted all day. He drinks slowly, letting the moisture soothe his dry throat. The afternoon stretches on. They carry the merchant to 2 more stops. A visit to a printer of legal documents near the Temple of Saturn. A quick stop at a goldsmith shop in the Vicus Tuscus. Each carry is the same. Lift, walk, lower, wait. By late afternoon, Marcus is tired. A deep, bone-level tiredness that comes from hours of steady physical work. His shoulder, even with the padding, is sore. A dull, throbbing ache. He knows the skin underneath will be red and marked. It will be sore tonight. By morning, it will be better. It always is. As the sun begins its slow descent, casting long shadows across the city, the merchant gives them his final destination. A large, impressive house on the Palatine Hill. The home of a senator. This is the hardest carry of the day. The route from the Forum to the Palatine is uphill. The streets are steep and paved with large, uneven stones. Every step is a strain. The men at the back, Gaius and Felix, have to push upwards. Marcus and Lucius at the front pull, their bodies leaning forward, their leg muscles screaming with the effort. No one speaks. There is no breath for words. The only sounds are their own heavy breathing, the grunt of effort with each step, and the rhythmic squeak of the leather straps. They move as one creature, a single unit of muscle and bone, united by the shared burden. They reach the top. The senator's house is grand, with a tall, studded wooden door. They lower the litter gently onto the level ground. The merchant gets out, finally looking at them, giving them a brief nod. He pays the foreman, who is waiting there, a small pouch of coins. The job is done. For a moment, the 4 bearers stand there, breathing heavily, their bodies glistening with sweat. They look at each other. A flicker of shared accomplishment passes between them. They did it. They carried the weight up the hill. They did their job. The light is golden now, soft and warm. The fierce heat of the day has broken, and a gentle coolness is beginning to creep into the air. The city's pace changes again. The frantic business of the afternoon gives way to the more relaxed rhythm of the evening. Marcus and his team are dismissed. Their work for the Dominus is done for now. They return the litter to the station on the lower slopes of the Palatine, wiping down the poles with a rag, making it ready for the night shift. Decimus gives them their share of the day's earnings. A few small silver coins plus the coppers from tips. It is not much, but it is enough. Marcus says a quiet goodbye to Lucius and Gaius. He sees Felix heading back to his own lodgings, his steps slow and weary. The young man will sleep well tonight. Marcus turns and begins the long walk home. His neighborhood is across the city. In the Subura, a crowded, noisy, lower-class district packed into a valley between the hills. It is a long walk, but he doesn't mind. The slow walk is a chance for his muscles to cool down, for his mind to drift. He passes through the forum at this golden hour. It is less crowded now. Couples stroll hand in hand. Children run and play. The temples glow in the warm light. It is a beautiful sight, and even Marcus, tired and simple as he is, notices it. He feels a small flicker of peace. As he enters the Subura, the world changes again. It is crowded, loud, and smells of cooking oil, fried fish, and too many people living close together. Children scream and play in the narrow streets, darting between the legs of adults. Women lean from upper windows, calling down to friends. The noise level is high, but it is a friendly noise. The sound of a community unwinding. He climbs the creaking wooden stairs of his insula, up 4 floors to the very top. He opens the door to his small room. Livia is there. She is sitting on a low stool, mending a torn tunic by the light of a small, flickering oil lamp. She looks up as he enters, and her face softens into a warm smile. "You're home," she says, her voice quiet and gentle. He nods, a small smile touching his own lips. He is home. The room is tiny. A bed in one corner, a small chest for their few belongings, a brazier for cooking, a wooden table with 2 stools. But it is clean. Livia keeps it clean. There is a small bunch of herbs hanging from the ceiling, filling the room with a faint, pleasant scent. On the brazier, a small pot simmers. The smell of lentils and vegetables fills the room. It smells like dinner. It smells like comfort. Marcus sits heavily on one of the stools. He pulls off his worn sandals and sets them by the door. He rubs his sore shoulder. Livia comes over and gently pushes his hand away, replacing it with her own smaller, softer hands. She kneads the tight muscles, her fingers finding the knots. He closes his eyes, letting out a long, slow sigh. This is the best part of the day. This small, quiet moment of care. They eat their simple meal of lentil stew and bread, sitting close together at the small table. They don't talk much. They don't need to. They are just happy to be together, in their small room, safe from the noise and the crowds outside. The sounds of the Subura drift up from the street below, muffled and distant. It is the background hum of their life. After the meal, Livia cleans the few dishes with a rag and a small bowl of water. Marcus sits by the small window, looking out at the darkening sky. The first stars are beginning to appear. The air through the window is finally cool and fresh. The night has fully settled over Rome. The sky is a deep, dark velvet, scattered with thousands of stars. The noisy, bustling city of the daytime is gone. In its place is a different world. A quieter, more mysterious world of shadows and silence. But the day is not over for Marcus. Not yet. There is a soft knock at the door. It is a messenger from the statio. A rich man needs a litter to take him home from a dinner party. They are short of men on the night shift. Can Marcus come? Livia looks at him, her eyes soft with concern. He gives her a small, tired smile. He must go. This is extra money. This is the difference between a little and enough. He puts his sandals back on. He gives Livia a gentle kiss on the forehead. "I'll be back before dawn," he whispers. She nods, pulling her thin blanket up to her chin. Marcus descends the dark stairs of the insula once more, stepping out into the silent street. The Subura at night is a ghost of its daytime self. A few shadowy figures move in the darkness. A dog sniffs at a pile of refuse. A lone night watchman walks past, his wooden sandals clacking on the stones. a small lantern swinging from his hand, casting a weak pool of light. The walk to the richer neighborhood is long and quiet. His footsteps echo in the empty streets. The grand houses are dark and silent, their occupants asleep behind their high walls. The only light comes from the moon and the stars, and from the occasional flickering torch at a street corner or outside a late-night tavern. He reaches the station. Decimus is there, looking tired. He points Marcus to a small, less ornate litter, carried by just 2 men. A lighter model for quick trips through the narrow streets. His partner for the night is a man he doesn't know. A silent, strong-looking fellow from the north. They pick up the litter and walk to the address they were given. A large house on the slopes of the Celian Hill. They wait outside, in the darkness. The night is cool and still. They can hear the faint sounds of laughter and music from inside the house. The party is still going on. They wait for a long time. The moon slowly climbs higher in the sky. Finally, the door opens. A man emerges, unsteady on his feet, wrapped in a luxurious cloak. He is helped by 2 slaves, who practically pour him into the litter. He gives a slurred order. His house is on the other side of the Aventine Hill. The 2 bearers lift the poles. The weight of a drunk man is different. It is a dead, heavy, uncooperative weight. But they manage. They begin the long walk through the sleeping city. This is a different kind of carrying. The silence is profound. Their footsteps seem incredibly loud. They move through dark, narrow alleys and across empty forums. The great public buildings are just dark, looming shapes against the starry sky. The only sound, besides their own steps and breathing, is the occasional murmur from the man inside, who seems to be talking to someone who isn't there. This is a lonely job, carrying the sleeping or the drunken home through the silent night. It makes you feel like a ghost moving through a ghost city. Marcus thinks of all the people tucked away in their beds behind these dark walls, all the lives being lived in dreams. And here he is, awake, a silent witness to the night. They cross the Tiber River via the Pons Aemilius. The dark water flows silently beneath them, reflecting the light of the moon. The air is cooler here by the water. Finally, they reach the man's house on the Aventine. His slaves are waiting, and they take him inside. The job is done. The 2 bearers stand for a moment in the empty street. They are paid. They nod to each other, a silent acknowledgement of the shared night's work, and then separate, each walking back to his own part of the city. Marcus is alone now. He begins the long walk home. It is the deepest part of the night, the hour before the first hint of dawn. The city is at its most still. He walks slowly. There is no hurry now. The weight is gone from his shoulder. His body is tired, but his mind is strangely clear. Walking through the silent city at this hour is a kind of meditation. He passes the great Palatine Hill, where the emperor and the wealthiest Romans live. It is a dark mass above him, dotted with a few tiny, flickering lights from torches in the palace gardens. What are they dreaming of up there, he wonders? Power? Gold? Or just ordinary things like a good meal or a child's laugh? He thinks of his own small room. He thinks of Livia warm in their bed. He thinks of the simple lentil stew, the feel of her hands on his sore shoulder. His life is hard. It is filled with endless, repetitive labor. He is a beast of burden, a pair of shoulders with legs. In the eyes of the men he carries, he is invisible, a piece of furniture that moves. But as he walks through this silent, beautiful city, under this vast canopy of stars, he does not feel invisible. He feels real. He feels the cool air on his face, the solid stone under his feet. He feels the ache in his muscles, the tiredness in his bones. He feels alive. He is a part of this city, a small, humble, essential part. Without men like him, the rich could not go to their parties. The ladies could not get to the temple. The city would not function. He is Marcus, the litter bearer. It is not a glorious title, but it is his, and he carries it, just as he carries the pole with a quiet, enduring strength. He enters the Subura. The narrow streets are dark and empty. Cat darts across his path. He climbs the creaking stairs of his insula for the last time. He opens the door to his room. Livia is asleep, her breathing soft and regular. He moves quietly so as not to wake her. He takes off his sandals and places them by the door. He takes off his worn tunic and lays it over the chest. He eases himself onto the straw mat beside her. He lies on his back, looking up at the dark ceiling. His shoulder throbs dully. His legs hum with fatigue. But his mind is quiet now. The long walk has calmed his thoughts. He turns on his side, towards Livia. He can feel the warmth of her body. He closes his eyes. The sounds of the pre-dawn city are just beginning. A distant cart, a single bird, testing the silence. Sleep comes for him, slowly, gently, like the tide coming in. And as Marcus finally drifts into a deep, well-earned sleep, we can leave him there, in his small, humble room, high above the quiet streets of ancient Rome. His day, from the cold hour before dawn to the deepest part of the night, has been a long one. A day of wait and waiting, of footsteps and silence, of carrying others to their destinations, while his own path remained a simple, steady loop. His story is a quiet one. There are no great battles, no dramatic speeches, just the slow rhythm of a life lived in service, under the sun and the stars. Just the enduring strength of human beings, doing what they need to do, day after day, night after night. As you lie in your own bed, warm and safe, perhaps you can think of Marcus. Think of his steady footsteps on the stone. Think of his patient waiting in the shade. Think of the quiet love he shared with Livia in their tiny room. And let his simple, enduring life remind you that peace can be found in routine, in endurance, in the simple act of putting one foot in front of the other. The city of Rome is long gone. Its temples are ruins. Its grand houses are dust. But the story of Marcus, the quiet man who carried the weight, still echoes in the silence of the night. So now, let your own breathing match his sleeping breath. Slow, deep, peaceful. Let the weight of your own day drift away from your shoulders. You have carried it far enough. It is time to rest. Close your eyes, and let the quiet, ancient night embrace you. Good night.